Hey, what is yo, and guys, my name is Gruntcooker, and thank you so much for the amazing responses on my last 5 tips of becoming a better Smite player. Due to all those responses, I'm here bringing you an updated version of that same video, but for Season 3 Smite. Without further ado, let's get into it, and let's kick it off with some more tips at getting better at Smite. Tip 1. Find a couple gods that look cool to you. Don't pick and stick with one god, not just yet. This will only hurt your ability to learning Smite and the gods it offers. The game in its current stage has 73 different gods and 74 if you're on PC that all play differently from one another. Even if you don't have the god pack, you have 5 free gods, not including the weak rotation gods. And you are capable of renting gods to try them out for a day or 5 days. You can also check out different gods' abilities by buying them, or going to jungle practice, or watching videos made by Hi-Rez themselves going over all the gods in the game. Now, I know what you're thinking. I already have a handful of gods, or I've just gotten my handful of gods that I can play. What else can I work on? Well, to you I say, learn the gods role. I'll be using the game mode Conquest as my role example because the roles in Conquest lay the foundation of the roles in other game modes. So stick with me and keep an eye out of what your god plays in its role. So I'm going to give you the role name, the lane in which that role goes to, and the common class that will usually play that role. First off, let's start with ADC or AD carry. They will go to the dual lane, and the common class that plays them will be Hunter. Our support will go to dual lane, and the common class that plays them is Guardian. Next, we have mid, who goes to the middle lane, and the common class that plays them is usually mage. Next is our jungler, and he doesn't really have a lane, but it's more the areas between the lanes, where buffs and camps will spawn. The common class that usually plays them is assassin. Last but not least is our solo, and he goes to the solo lane. The common class that plays them is usually warrior. None of these roles and classes are truly set in stone. You will see other classes playing other roles sometimes better than the common class could. For example, you will see hunters going mid and mages going to dual lanes sometimes. So know your god and the lane he excels at before getting real deep into the game. This will help you later on in learning different gods and their abilities to do certain things for your team. So now I know the gods that I like playing and what roles they play in Conquest and other game modes. What now, Gruntcooker? Well, to you I say, when does your god excel? We know what lane and what role your god excels at, but when does he? Is it early, mid, or late game? Early game gods are going to be your aggressive gods early on in the game. Their damage output is super high, and they can put you in a bad spot if you're caught out. Mid game gods are going to be your kind of relaxed gods and help capturing objectives. These gods help both early and late game gods by getting them more farm to increase their damage and survivability over the enemy team. Late game gods are going to be your insane damage dealers late in the game. They're going to wreck squishy gods, towers, and phoenixes. So I made a little table when I was playing early on in Smite to help me understand early, mid, and late game gods that I should be playing. If you feel like this doesn't really help you or doesn't help you at all, go ahead and check out Noisy Guys. I'll have a link on the screen and a link in the description. It helps visualize what gods are best early, mid, and late game. Early gods are D class and late game gods are SS class. So go ahead and check that out if you feel like my graph doesn't help. Hopefully he helps you. Tip 2. Learn the meta. I cannot tell you how many times this is important. Smite in every other game is not perfect. So some gods can be sometimes borderline OP'd, or overpowered. Learning the meta can help new players understand which gods to play and help guide them, while giving pros a map of good versus bad gods to play in the current meta. If you don't have any clue what meta stands for, think of it as the most efficient tactic available, or meta. The meta can change at any point in time, so keeping up with it can be challenging, but very rewarding when it comes to learning and going against other gods. But be careful, just because a god is considered the best god in the game doesn't always mean that it will be the easiest to play for you or connect to you as a player. In the video description and annotation on the video, I'll be putting 1 to DM Brandon's tier list explaining all the gods in their current form, and 2, a DM Brandon video of him talking about the tier list and why the gods should be there. Tip 3. So now we know what god we play, when he excels, where he excels, and we know the meta. What else can we do to help us in our game? Well, tip 3 is all about learning the relics in the game. Relics are a fairly new system, and they're very important because they help the whole entire team and can help you get out of a sticky situation or by increasing your damage output. Relics are 100% free and cost no gold to get. You get your first relic at level 1 and your second relic at level 12. Now stick with me, I'm going to go over all the relics and hopefully give you an idea of what relics you should be getting in the game. So the first relic we are going to be going over is called Blink. Its cooldown is 120 seconds, and by using this relic you are able to teleport short distances instantly. But you must be out of combat for 5 seconds before using this blink. Common people that get this relic are, but not limited to, Odin, Ymir, Ares, and some junglers that want that extra surprise attack. The second relic is called Curse. Its cooldown is 150 seconds, and using this item reduces all enemy gods' movement speed by 40% in a 55 unit radius around you for 5 seconds. Also, their healing is reduced by 65% for the duration of that 5 seconds. You would want to get this relic if the enemy team has 1 or more healer gods. You can also use this relic to chase enemy gods if you feel like you can catch them in time. The third relic is called Frenzy. Its cooldown is 120 seconds, and by using this relic, removes the disarm status from all allied gods in a 70-foot radius and gives them an extra 20% physical and magical power buff for 10 seconds. While active, you gain plus 10 bonus damage towards objectives. You don't see this relic get picked up much, but there's definitely a time and place for this. The fourth relic is called Meditation, or Meds for short. Its cooldown is 120 seconds, and by using this item it restores to the owner and his teammates within 35 radius 15% of the owner's health and 35% of the owner's maximum mana. You will mostly see warriors pick up this relic in Conquest and other game modes, but if you play Assault, this will most likely be your first relic in the game. The fifth relic is called Purification, or Beads for short. Its cooldown is 160 seconds, and by using this item, removes crowd control effects and makes you immune to new ones for 2 seconds. You will see lots of squishy gods pick this for their relic, or if you are going up against a heavy crowd control enemy team like Ymir, Athena, Bellona, Thor, and many others, choose this relic. The sixth relic is called Sanctuary. Its cooldown is 160 seconds, and using this item makes you invulnerable to damage for 2 seconds, preventing you from activating abilities, but you are able still to move around. Again, you'll see a lot of squishy gods pick this relic, but this doesn't make you immune to stuns, taunts, silences, or crowd control effects as Purifications did. The seventh relic is called Scout. Its cooldown is 140 seconds, and upon activation, you may place a single sentry ward. The cooldown on this relic resets when returning to your fountain. This relic is also disabled in the siege game mode, and this goes to your 2 ward count. Placing a 3rd ward will cause the oldest ward to be destroyed. Though this relic is one of the least picked relics in the entire game, some support players still pick it for conquest. The 8th relic is called Shell. Its cooldown is 140 seconds, and by using this item, it gives the owner and his allies a plus 45 magical and physical protection for 5 seconds. Also, all damage taken is reduced by 15%. You will mostly see a lot of support players pick this relic. The 9th relic is called Sprint. Its cooldown is 140 seconds, and by using this item, it buffs the movement speed of allies within 55 unit radius by 40% for 6 seconds. It also makes them immune to slows for the duration. You'll most likely get this relic if you feel the enemy team continues to catch you or your allies, or to chase enemy gods. But really, anybody can pick up this relic, and it's really popular. The 10th relic is called Sunder. Its cooldown is 120 seconds, and upon activation, it fires a bolt that stops on the first god hit and deals 40 true damage plus 14 damage per god level, and reduces the target's protection by 25% for 4 seconds. This relic does have a 0.2 second casting time, so take that into effect when or if you use this relic. This is another unpopular relic, but if you can hit the skill shot, it is so very rewarding. The 11th relic is called Teleport, or TP for short. Its cooldown is 180 seconds, and by using this item, it allows you to teleport to any allied tower or ward without damage interruption, while being unable to move. You are still interrupted by hard CC or crowd control effects. This relic is only really popular in Conquest, and you'll mostly only see it on the solo laner as their first relic. The final relic is called Wrath. Its cooldown is 60 seconds, and by using this item, it deals 480 damage in a 15 unit radius to a single enemy, minion, or jungle monster. Target is always the one with the highest maximum health. This item deals 1000 damage to jungle bosses. Having another teammate do another Wrath relic will only deal 50% of its damage. This is another unpopular relic, but if you were to see anybody pick this one up, it would probably be your jungler. Tip 4 is going to be all about the UI in Smite. I've been getting many complaints about what does what and what does this mean and what does that mean according to the GUI. So we're going to go over that here in tip 4. So the first thing we're going to look at is towards the top left of your screen. That's going to be your teammates. It shows who is on your team, what gods they are playing, their health, their mana, what level they are, and that little blue dot shows if they have their ultimate or not. So be always looking at that to see if your team has their ultimate. This bar is probably the most confusing bar, so I'm going to kind of go over it in advance. On the left side, the blue side of the UI is your team's gold, your team's total kills, and in the middle at the top is the timer of how long the game has been going for. The bottom is the kill/death/assist ratio. This is what this game uses, besides like Call of Duty that uses KD. In Smite and other MOBAs, they use KDA. On the right hand side, that big red number is the enemy team's total kills, and the very far side of that UI is the amount of gold the enemy team has. So now we're going to take a look at the top right. This is the enemy team and their level. It doesn't show their health or mana, so be wary of that. This only shows the enemy gods that they are playing. On the left hand side, going back to it, we have what you are building in your game at that moment. This will change depending on the items you buy, and so on and so forth. Kind of self-explanatory, but might as well go over it since we're already here. Now we're going to go over probably the most important GUI, UI, whatever you want to call it, help that you will probably be looking at. This is at the kind of the top right under the enemy team, but this is your mini-map. This shows you everything you need to know about where enemy team is, where your team is, what objectives are up, what farms are up, what camps are up, where are the enemies, how long are my towers. Everything is on that mini-map that you will need to know. The next UI system we're going to go over is called the VGS chat box. It will be on the left hand side underneath the item box that we went over earlier, and this gives you endless amount of combination codes that you can put into your controller to help communicate to your allies in a game without getting on a mic. If you don't know what any of this is, or you don't know any of the combos, try to study this map that I've put in the video of every possible combination that you can do. You will notice an increase in game wins because of this if other teammates know how to use this. So if you have a bunch of friends and y'all don't know what VGS is, please show them this video and show them this map. Now we're going to go to the bottom left hand corner of our UI, and this is where our relics and any consumables that we buy, including potions and wards and strength pots, will be. This will also show you how much gold you have. So in this case, 2 minutes into the game, I had 830 gold. This kind of helps you to identify what items you can buy with the amount of gold that you have. So this bar or UI or little symbol, what most people call it, is probably one of the most overlooked symbols in Smite. Many gods have this, and it's kind of either their passive timer, passive counter. It's more related to your passive than anything. Sometimes it's not important, sometimes it is. It really depends on what god you're playing, but it's still worth checking every now and then. Now the bar we're going to go over is in the middle bottom of your screen, and I personally like to call it my personal bar, because it's all about me and how well I'm doing in the game. So for this game, my max health is 890 and I only have 426 health. The blue bar will be your mana bar, and that little yellow bar is your XP. Now you're probably asking, what does the plus 9.5 and plus 7 mean on the green and blue bar? Well, this is your MP5, which in my case was 9.5, and your mana is 7, so that's MP5. So for every 5 seconds you get that much mana. On the very right hand corner of that bar, you'll see that I was a level 5, so this is kind of your level. You can also get all of this information besides the specific numbers in the top left corner that we saw with our teammates. Next, we're going to go over in the bottom right hand corner to look at our cooldowns or skill bar. This shows the cooldowns of our skills, how many times we've upgraded our skills, how much mana our skills cost. That's what the little numbers are at the top, and the numbers in the middle are our cooldown skills. What button is to press them. This is probably debatably the second or most important bar to look at compared to the mini-map. So this is probably the second most overlooked bar, and I call it the buffs debuffs bar. Because on the left hand side you have your buffs. So in this example I have a health pot put on me right now, so I'm getting health, and that's considered a buff. If I had my mana buff, that symbol would also go on the left hand side. But if an enemy team was to debuff me, it would be on the right hand side. So if you ever wonder, like, why am I not moving so fast, or why can't I attack as fast as I usually was, check your debuffs and buffs bar. So now I've gone over every UI that is in the Smite game currently as of recording. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay, so he said mini-map and cooldowns were my most important. That's what I'm going to focus on. Well, you really should be looking at all of these bars. Each one gives its own specific purpose for the game and helping you achieve victory. Knowing what each bar does helps you tremendously in every game, no matter how bad or how good your team is. So make sure you go over, understand what all of these do. If you're new, if you're a beginner, if you're an amateur, if you're a pro, this can really change the output of a game from a team who knows what the UI does versus a team that doesn't. Tip 5 is going to be to my Conquest players out there. We're going to go over the new meta for the Conquest map, where each role goes, and who gets what buff. So let's start. So the solo laner and jungler will go to the solo side of the map and do back harpies and blue buff, giving the blue to solo laner. Once blue buff is clear, jungler will head to mid harpies on the solo side, while solo laner goes to solo lane to farm. At this exact same time and moment, both the dual laners and mid will go to the dual side, clearing back harpies and red buff at the exact same time, giving the red to the mid. Mid will meet the jungler on the solo facing side harpies, and then farm with the jungler in the mid lane, while dual side heads to boars to clear the lane and farm for the rest of the game. Now for the little bit more advanced situation, both the solo laner and jungler will head to mid harpies facing the solo side, clearing them out, heading to blue and clearing blue, giving blue to solo laner. Jungler will then head to left side or dual harpy camps to meet the mid laner, while solo laner goes to solo lane to farm. Both the dual and mid will still clear red buff at the exact same time, giving the red to mid, and mid will meet jungler on the dual side facing mid harpies and then farm with the jungler in mid lane, while dual does the exact same thing while heading to their boards, clearing lane. Same old, same old. And sadly that brings an end to our continued 5 tips at becoming a better Smite player. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a really fun time making this video for y'all. So positive, negative feedback, what I could do better on the next video, what I didn't include in this video, just leave it down in the comments. I will respond as best as I can. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, morning. Have a good day, guys, and peace out.